Hey everyone, it's Brian from Ultimate Upland, and you are watching the Upland Game Show. It's a show where we talk about the outdoors and upland hunting and ask questions to try and determine the winner of Bird Brain Trivia. And today, for the very first time, we have the sister battle. What's going on, Elizabeth and Maddie Funk from Kansas? I know you guys are excited to be on. Let me ask you guys a quick question. Are you competitive with one another?
Definitely. Sometimes too much.
And everything, or just selectively competitive?
Probably just selectively competitive.
What do you feel like you're most competitive with one another in?
I feel like if our parents set us against each other, then it's just a whole battle.
I feel like it's kind of with our dogs too.
Yeah, that's true.
We fight about whose dog is the most well trained, and
which one's the best,
or who can do the coolest tricks.
Who do you think gets the better of those battles? I mean, who wins more?
Maddie says that I do.
My dog can shake and hers can't. So
yeah, Maddie teaches her dogs tricks, but my dog listens.
So we're using shake as a determination. If the dog shakes, that's who.
That's cool, you know? That's cool.
On principle alone, I don't teach my dogs to shake.
I can do it for you.
She's an expert dog trainer.
So, how's things going in Kansas right now? It's a rainy day in Ohio, but Kansas treating you well? You guys still stuck in the house?
Yep, it's been rainy for 2 weeks now in Kansas, and it's supposed to be another week of just rain. So
yep.
That's what we've had. It's just nothing but a sog fest out here. What's you guys lived in Kansas your entire lives?
Yep.
Yeah. We've been in this house for our entire lives too. Yeah.
So what's the best part of Kansas? Let me ask you that.
Like location, or just what's the best part of living here?
Best part of living here. You got to answer separately.
Okay, you go first.
We live in a big piece of land in kind of the middle of nowhere, and I think that's really fun because I can just walk around with my dog, do whatever. I think that's really fun and cool. So
yeah, I feel like I can always find a spot in Kansas. Even when I'm in Lawrence, you can always go out just a little bit outside of Lawrence, and there's something I can take my dog and you can go for miles and not really have people anywhere, and I love that. Lawrence
is the closest quote-unquote big city?
Yeah. Or that's where I am a lot, so that's why.
Well, let me review the rules for those of you who don't or haven't seen a previous episode. Elizabeth and Maddie are going to be asked a series of questions. The closest to the answer of each of those questions will be awarded a point. And by the end of the questions, we'll determine who the winner is. And the winner, I know you guys have probably seen some of the previous episodes where, winners are going to get Ultimate Upland swag. But I was thinking, I want to put a little bit more on the line for this one because it is the first sister battle ever. So instead of the swag, I just went straight for the Cabela's gift card, but it's $100 gift card this time.
Oh my goodness.
We got real stakes on the line, and so I just want to make sure that you guys are truly competing at your best sister level. And of course, as we know of all the other episodes, there's no points for second place. So what's the loser going to get?
The loser gets to have a spoonful of mustard.
Ooh, right out of the jar?
Yeah.
Yup.
Neither one of you guys mustard fans is what we're saying?
No, not at all.
Nope.
Oh, I like this. So we've got the prize and the punishment. They seem like pretty equal prizes and punishments. So I'm going to go straight to your first question because we were just talking about Kansas, and you guys are lifelong Kansans.
Oh, no.
Part of what I think attracts upland hunters to Kansas is that there's lots of places to hunt. The WEHA, what us out-of-staters call the program, the WEHA program, which has about 1.1 million acres of private land that's open for public access. So folks like us from out of state can come to your state and hunt. I think there's actually, Kansas probably has somewhere in the line, when you take all the available options, somewhere close to 1.7 or 2 million acres of huntable ground. And that's pretty substantial for a state. We don't have anywhere near that here. So you guys are blessed with that. But question number one, you guys like to wander around in those wide open spaces. How many acres are in the state of Kansas?
The heck? I don't know.
Total acreage of the state of Kansas.
Oh, geez. I don't even know how much.
I'm going to give you guys a second to calculate it, but for the people who are watching and don't know, much of Kansas, especially western Kansas, it's all set up on mile grids, right? I mean, everything is a 1 mile square. You guys call them sections, I think. Sometimes landowners own multiple sections, but there's always seems to be a road every mile. And when we're out there navigating, that's what I'm going north, south, east, or west in 1 mile increments. That's how we track it, right? So that got me thinking. I wonder how many of those square miles are out there. And so I just looked it up real quick, a little Google search. And you guys don't have the luxury of Google, so I just wonder what you're thinking. There are 644 acres in a square mile.
Okay, I'm just gonna put something down.
Oh my god.
This might be embarrassing. Like, I feel like it's either going to be really too big or...
I'm very nervous.
Actually, should I write this bigger?
I shouldn't be that nervous. I'm done.
I don't know. You definitely should be nervous. I mean, there's a lot riding on this. I don't know which is better, the spoonful of mustard or the gift card. You got your answers?
Yes.
Maybe not.
All right, let's see them.
Okay. I don't know if you can read that, really.
What did you put?
Hold it close to the camera. 7 million versus
80 million.
How many?
80 million.
Oh,
I don't know.
that's
Well, there's actually 52,986,000 and change. So one of you was way low, the other one was way high. But I don't know, my math skills, I think Elizabeth is closer, right?
I think
so. I said 80 million. So
I said 7. So
7's still like 40 some away, 80 minus 52. Yeah, you're actually not that far apart in your guesses, but Elizabeth goes up 1.
You and Maddie were gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, we do that a lot.
We'll do that. Like, we'll start singing the same song out of the blue at the same time, or.
Well, so just so people are clear, you guys aren't twins. You're somewhat close in age,
No.
But, I don't know. The average person looking through the low res zoom camera lens probably is going, well, who's who over there? But yeah, you're Elizabeth. You just graduated from high school, the wonderful virus class of 2020, and and Maddie, you're on the way through, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
we don't know whether you guys are ever going to be able to go back to school yet or not, right?
No, we do not.
So you were talking about your dogs earlier. Now, I think in your family, now correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you all have your own dog?
Yes, and some. We have more dogs than people in our house.
Dad has about 3 dogs.
He has 4. Technically, with Pete.
Oh yeah, with Pete.
Dad has 4 that are just his, technically.
And then we all have our own.
So why don't you individually tell me about your dogs? I guess what I'm curious about, you guys can see that, right? That's you guys? I don't know if that's your dogs with you.
Yeah, that's our dogs.
Yep.
That's your dog. So which one's which? Tell me about your dogs.
Do you want to start, Maddie?
Of course. My dog is the one closest to me, the black dog. His name is Gage, and he's 4 years old, and he is probably the best dog to ever exist. I think he's better at like duck and goose hunting than he is pheasant hunting, but he's still a really good pheasant hunter, so I've heard.
So you've heard?
Yeah. I think that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Perfect.
my dog was the liver dog closest to me. Her name's Emma. She's just like 6 months older than Gage. She's almost 5 now. She's probably the reason I got into hunting. She came back to us and I fell in love with her in like 2 days, and she really got me excited about hunting. She is definitely not a duck dog. She can, but she's kind of wimpy when it comes to cold water, but she is amazing on pheasant and quail and ptarmigan when we went in the fall. So
Yeah, that was pretty
she's
cool.
an awesome dog.
So tell everybody about your hunting experience a little bit. Elizabeth, I had the opportunity to hunt with you in Colorado, but I know that wasn't your first hunt ever. So what do you guys do in the uplands? Kansas is obviously blessed with a lot of upland opportunity, whether that's quail or pheasant and prairie chicken as well. So what exactly have you guys done and how'd you get into it?
Well, we mostly do pheasant because of our dogs, pheasant dogs, and we go up to western Kansas a lot to hunt, and I got into it kind of just, my dad always went, and I was like, I want to go with him, but he never let me go until I was older, but I just watched him do it all the time and get birds and have fun with his dogs, and I saw the pictures and just got me excited, and I wanted to do it, so that's how I got into hunting.
Yeah, for me, it was, I don't know, I got a dog and Dad said, well, if you're going to have a kind of dog like this, you need to get into hunting. And that's what does it for me. Like, if I don't know, the relationship with my dog and going out and, I don't know, like working with her, like I trained her myself. I spent all the hours. And yeah, I just love doing it with my dog.
So that's pretty cool because I think a lot of people, as far as upland hunters go, they're not dog first entry people. I don't think their entry point for most upland hunters is dogs. I think they first probably go hunting with somebody, and then the dog becomes, I need a dog to do this successfully. And you guys kind of took it the other way, where I got a dog and I guess I'm going to go hunt now because that's what this dog wants to do.
Yeah.
So I like that. You guys are short hair people.
Yes.
Not your current hair. Your dogs are short hair people. So I thought I'd ask you a short hair question. You guys ready?
They're going to be so disappointed in us. Okay.
What year did the AKC officially recognize the German Shorthair breed?
Okay, I'm just gonna put something down.
Was it like recently? Because didn't a dog like win something?
Well, like I think
it's not super recently.
Yeah,
I will give you a hint. So German Shorthairs actually become very popular according to the AKC, and they track what the most popular breeds are. And they've been doing this for a long time. The German Shorthairs now are ranked number 9 out of all breeds, not just hunting dogs, all breeds. So German Shorthairs have gotten really popular as of late, but they recognized the breed a while back.
Okay.
Got your answers?
My answer's wrong. Let me change it. Okay. I have my answer.
Okay. Ready?
See them.
I can't see mine. Like I need to like outline it a little bit better.
My sharpen's not working right.
Okay, we're ready.
All right, let's do it.
3, 2,
I'm
1.
not waiting. Can you see it?
I put 1960.
I put 1980.
Oh, yeah. See, you youngsters don't know anything about how old we are. They recognized the breed in 1930.
Oh.
Look out. Elizabeth goes up 2-1, right?
We were both so far off, though.
To give context to that, I think the most popular breed according to the AKC is the Labrador. You know, we got some of those. And I think they recognized labs in 1900. You saw my cat right there. My cat's trying to get in the frame now. So yeah, the 1930 is pretty late for that, but the rise from 1930 for the German Shorthair to being the number 9 breed is pretty crazy as far as that goes. So we know what kind of birds you have out there in Kansas to hunt. But what's your favorite bird to hunt, or just your favorite animal to hunt? I'm just curious if you've got a favorite.
Pheasant. I think pheasant. It's really fun because like whenever they pop up, you just get like this rush inside where it's like, whoa.
I don't know.
I think that's fun.
I haven't hunted quail as much, but I got my first quail probably a year or 2 ago, and it was really, really fun to have Emma like work them, and like we followed this covey around basically, and it was really, really fun that you can actually work them. They don't just pop up. She pointed them, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like I would say quail. I really, really like watching my dog point, and I mean, she can point pheasants, but they're crazy sometimes. So
ptarmigan aren't on the top of your list, Elizabeth?
I don't know. I really want to go again. That was a really fun week for me.
Maddie, how did you get hosed out of that, Maddie? By the way, how didn't you end up on that?
I don't know. I think it was because I was like cheering or something, and my dad was like, "Oh, she has to stay home to cheer at football games or whatever." I think that's what happened.
Yeah, that you would have had more fun on the mountains. For those of you who haven't had a chance to watch it, I think it's episode. Oh gosh, what episode was it? I think it's episode 7 or 8, isn't it, Elizabeth? On the Way Upland series. Make sure you check it out. You're going to see Elizabeth on the mountain with her dog. She did get shots. I won't say whether she hit anything or not. You have to watch the episode. So I don't. Favorite birds are hard, I think, just because I have an appreciation for all upland birds. And quite frankly, I think all birds fascinate me. So I can just, I'd be watching a bird, even upland birds, and I'll just sit there and stare at it for an hour because I'm like, wow, that's a crazy looking dinosaur thing. So I love birds too, but I always like to ask a bird question. So we're going to go to that question. Maddie, you may have the advantage. No, I don't know. It is a bobwhite quail question. So Elizabeth, you may have the advantage. There's no advantage. According to the Cornell lab, how long did the oldest bobwhite quail on record live? Now, for perspective, most upland birds, the mortality rate annually is somewhere in the range of 70%. So that means 7 out of 10 birds die within their first year of living. That's kind of crazy to even think that, but that's generally the stats that are considered. That's through all predation. Hunting doesn't have much of a factor in that in general. So in most cases, a 2-year-old when we're hunting is a trophy. And beyond that, it's almost the odds of finding a bird that are older than 3 years old is pretty insane. But somehow the Cornell lab tracked a bird. They've got it down, and it's according to them the oldest bird on record. So knowing that the most birds don't live more than a year, to the tune of 70%. What do you think the oldest bird on record was? Do it years and months, because if you both guess the same year, then we're going to drop it down to months.
Okay. Don't look at me, Madeline.
I'm thinking. You write so aggressively, it's stressing me.
Because I'm trying to make it why do I write at an angle? I'm just realizing that now.
Wait, we're supposed to put months?
Yeah.
I already wrote mine down. It's not going to hurt me if I see what you write down.
Yeah, it is, because she can prices right you. That's why we make people write their answers down, because just like the Price is Right, she could just say one more month than you. So that folks know, all upland birds they kind of fall into that same category, which is called I think it's high biotic potential, which means that they have a lot of offspring to replace the fact that there's going to be a lot of loss in that first year. I think the average quail clutch is somewhere in the realm of 15 birds. So it's fairly common for upland, and that mortality rate is fairly common too. But the oldest bird, what was your guess?
Okay.
The oldest bobwhite quail.
Mine was 8 years, 6 months. I don't know if you can even see
8 years, 6 months.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Maddie?
Mine was 7 years, 9 months.
Oh.
The oldest quail, according to the Cornell lab, was 6 years, 5 months.
Oh, yeah. I got
Maddie gets on the board with a point. It's 2-1.
Yeah.
So I think there are a lot of wildlife agencies out there who are trying to solve this equation for how to get more youth involved in hunting, because by and large, we're a dying sport, if you will, if you want to call it a sport or a pastime. Not as many people are taking that up. I'm curious, what do you guys do when you're not hunting? What kind of activities are you involved in? I think that this is just interesting in that young ladies especially are a very small segment of hunting. So I know we heard how you got involved in it, but what else are you doing, and what are your other interests in the outdoors?
You can go first.
Okay. Well, right now I'm really into bike riding and like with my dog, and skateboarding too. Me and Maddie both picked up skateboarding during quarantine. But
where are you skateboarding? Most of the roads out there are gravel.
I know we keep going to like little lakes and stuff nearby that have like a, I don't know, just a concrete loop. Yeah. And I also have been into horse riding my whole life too. So that's another thing. I'll go all over the place riding my horse, and that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
What about you, Maddie? What are you into?
You know, I skateboard.
Skater babe.
I bake a lot. Does that count? Or is it just outside stuff?
Oh no, we'll qualify baking. I think it's so. Let me ask you this: what are you guys like the exception to your friends? I'm not even girls. I'm talking girls and guys. Is it rare that your friends hunt, or what percentage would you put it at most of your friends that hunt?
I have one friend that hunts, and he doesn't really hunt that often either. So Gage.
Oh really?
That's it.
I honestly can't, like, none of my close friends hunt at all.
Yeah, so you guys are the exception to the rule.
Okay, never mind. I have one friend that hunts.
We both have one.
Yes,
friend.
and she's like turkey hunter, deer hunter. She's not upland at all.
Yeah,
So,
us upland hunters are the smallest of the small fraction, really,
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things. It's rare. I think it's strange. So, okay, so you each have one friend that hunts out of how many friends?
I mean, I'm trying to think of like really everyone I know that's like kind of close to me.
We have tons of friends.
Oh,
Right?
yeah,
We can't count.
There's no number attached to that. We can't even count all of them.
We just have too many friends.
So, well, I'm just going to put it at less than 1% of your friends hunt. How's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sound about right? How many people are in your high school?
I have 35 people in my class.
That's about what I have to. Yeah.
So in every class, do the math.
Well, some classes are bigger than others. Like, how big are the sophomores? And the juniors had 50 kids. I don't know.
What do you think our biggest class is?
We probably have about 150 in our school, like in our high school.
Okay. Well, when you have that many, then you better be friends with all of them, because
that's kind of how it works.
It's a small number, right? Well, part of my theory on why, and I could be wrong, but part of my theory on why upland hunting is such a small percentage, and hunting's growing is a small percentage too, but upland hunting is an even smaller percentage, is because I think that there's been upland birds are hidden for the most part. You guys see that? Like, and I think that because they're not out there in front of people like deer or like some other wildlife, that they're often forgotten. Elizabeth, that's your favorite bird right there. It should be. That's the white-tailed ptarmigan. These are Audubon's birds, but here's one that's in Kansas as well that almost nobody knows about, and that's the prairie chicken. I love these illustrations because I think that they show the action of the birds and make them look a little more exciting. And of course, this is one of my favorites. That's plate number 76 by Audubon, who was a naturalist. But I think that's part of it. So that leads us to our next question. I just showed you 3 plates from Audubon's book. It's the Birds of America. That book's a really huge book. In its original iteration, it was 39 by 26. It's this awesome printed thing with hand-colored illustrations in it. There's 435 illustrations in that book. You saw some of my favorites out of there because of the upland birds. But in 2010, John James Audubon's book, Birds of America, there was an auction. There's only 119 known copies of that original size. There was an auction of that book with 435 illustrations in it. What did that auction bring for that book?
Okay.
People pay stupid amounts
I
of money,
know.
so it's like hard to know. Okay.
That's what makes it a good question.
I don't know.
Just go ahead. Just do it.
Can we
Put down a
bring
number.
decimals into this?
Decimals? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's 15 cents.
Be very specific. Oh, by the way, so those prints that I showed you, if you guys, I'll include the link in the video in the comment section below, but Audubon, the Audubon Society will let you download the high-res versions of those to your home computer. They have all of them up there. So it's pretty cool if you wanted a screensaver, if you just wanted to do a print on them, or you can just see Audubon's other work, but I'll include the link. It's super cool. You won't have the original book, which probably is a little bit cooler, but and a little more valuable, but you can actually explore those illustrations. All right, let's see them.
Okay.
2010. What did the book sell for?
You can't even see your answers.
I know. I put 50,000.
Oh,
50,000.
Nah.
Really?
Mine's 2.5 million.
I said we were gonna like guess the same thing at one point.
Yeah, you guys, I thought for sure you'd be answering the same too, but you aren't even close to the same. And that book sold for $11.5 million.
Oh my gosh! I was
Maddie ties it up. I like these close battles where we get where it's back to 2-2. That's solid, and that makes me excited. Are you getting nervous yet? I mean, there's $100 gift card on the line, but the mustard's really the real thing, right?
I don't want to eat mustard. It's so gross.
You're gonna have to.
I better not.
So, you guys started in this upland because of the dogs. Can you ever see yourself without a dog? I know, Elizabeth, you're getting ready to go away to college, maybe, hypothetically. Well, who's keeping your dog while you're in college?
I think she's coming with me, actually. I think I got all the paperwork, and I think she can. I'm not living in a dorm. I'm living like in a scholarship hall. It's basically like a big house, like with 50 people. And
Nice.
has big stuff, so I think
So it's going to be 50 people, and however many dogs get approved for that location?
Yes.
And what about you, Maddie? Ever see yourself not having a dog, more than one dog?
I really think I'm always gonna have a dog because they're kind of like emotional support, Like you just always have them with you, and like I can't imagine not always having my dog with me. Yeah. It's just weird.
What's I mean, are you breed snobs? Are you always going to have German Shorthairs?
No, I don't think so.
No, I think after Emma, I want to try it. What are they, Springer Spaniels? I want to try like one of those little cool dogs, or I don't know. We've had one.
Your dad might have just jumped out of his skin when you heard that one. I don't know. Yeah. Springer Spaniel's a Flushing breed.
I know. But yeah, I'd like to try it. I don't know.
One time we trained a little Irish Terrier.
Oh my God.
I love him so much. His name is Baggins. And I think I might get an Irish Terrier whenever Gage is long gone.
Yeah, in my mind, Emma will never die, so.
Yeah.
What's the Irish Terrier? What was it trained to do?
Be cute.
I don't know. Do they?
Were they? I
feel like they were at some point.
Yeah.
They were like, I don't remember. Dad's talked about it.
Yeah.
They were probably varmint dogs or rat dogs back in the day. I don't know what they're for. And I'm convinced you can probably teach any dog to hunt birds. I'm not sure how successful all of them will be, and it's a better start when you have a little bit of genetic foundation behind that. But I'd be happy to see you guys train an Irish Terrier to hunt pheasant. I think that would be rock star. So I'm going to encourage that. I'm glad to know that you're lifelong dog people, though. But I think you have to focus on those bird dog breeds. I want to get one of every kind of bird dog, but I don't think I'm going to make it through there. You guys collect dogs, though, so it might be a little different for you.
Yeah.
So speaking of dogs, I've got another dog question. Because we know that dogs don't last as long as we ever want them to. I just happened to look up, and I've got an old dog. You guys probably haven't met my old dog. He's laying right over here off the camera. He's 12 now. And he acts like it. But most dogs medium-sized dogs live between 8 to 12 years of age is generally the average. But I wanted to know what the world's oldest dog on record was. So apparently there was according to the Guinness Book of World Records, there was a dog named Bluey. He was an Australian cattle dog. And he is the oldest dog on record. He died, but how old was Bluey, the Australian cattle dog, when he died? This is a brutal question for all the marbles right here.
I'm gonna channel my inner Google in my brain right now.
Your inner Google.
Yes. What do you think?
Your brain calculator.
Yes. Do we have to do months on this one too?
You better do months, because I'm thinking Maddie's just going to one-up your year.
No. This is so competitive right now. I'm nervous.
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm ready too.
All right, let's see.
3, 2, 1. I said 20 years, 8 months.
I said 16 years, 3 months.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. I'm scared.
Bluey, the Australian cattle dog, with the Guinness Book of World Records age, 29 years, 5 months.
Oh
That's an old dog.
Elizabeth takes the victory.
I can't.
Congratulations, Elizabeth, on your $100 gift card. But I think more importantly,
No,
We can share.
I'll share my Cabela's, but I won't share the mustard.
let's see some mustard. That was a good battle, by the way. Your answers were in the ballpark for the most part. Better answers than we've seen some other shows.
We have big spoons at our house.
I tried to get a smaller one, and Dad said no.
Yeah, I think he's correct on that one. You got to go big spoon.
No,
Yeah.
no, you're gonna put the whole bottle.
It's got to be
in.
mounted up in there, right?
No.
I honestly thought I was gonna lose. I'm pretty proud of myself right now.
Hey, 3-2. This almost requires a rematch. I mean,
Just shake it. Can you hear that noise? Oh.
yeah, not good.
Can I drop out? Okay.
What? Ultimate Upland game show?
It smells bad. I can smell it. Why did we decide to do mustard? I would have been.
Yeah, Maddie and I had all these different ideas. You know, come on, more than that. You gotta
No,
fill the spoon
I
at least
can't.
level.
Hold it close to the camera. Let me see it.
You can't.
Hold it way
see-
up here.
That's
Oh, yeah, that's a spoonful.
I'm gonna throw up. This is just. I haven't eaten anything today.
Oh,
I-
good. Mustard's the first step.
Come on, just do it fast.
This smells.
We have
like my
water
chi-
right there too.
This smells like my childhood.
What?
I used to like mustard too. That's the worst.
I never have liked mustard. Maybe you'll like it then. Ew!
It's so gross.
Just do it.
You made me do this.
Here, I won't look. 3, 2, 1. Oh no.
Oh, it's so spicy.
Just do it really fast. Is it spicy mustard?
Ooh.
Let's keep going.
I need to drink water. It's burning my throat.
Good thing you guys didn't do a hot pepper.
I know, we were gonna do hot sauce before. That's
Well,
Maddie
I
wanted.
would have liked hot sauce better than
Ugh.
this.
What is mustard made
That cures everything right there.
I'm gonna choke. You need a hug. Oh, Sarah, I come out
Oh,
with
no.
you. Thank you, I appreciate it.
That was awesome, guys. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. I appreciate the first sister battle ever. Great show, great answers. Thanks for your insight. If you're watching and you like what you've seen, make sure you smash that subscribe button down there, and you can follow us on all other social media. It's Ultimate Upland all the time. You guys got any parting comments?
This doesn't go viral. I'm going to be very angry.
All right, you've heard them. We got to go viral. Thanks, guys. I'll have your prize package on the way.